and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Clio AI. When it comes to knowledge management, the problem is actually three main things. First, when you're looking for information, you need to know in which data source your information is stored. So whether you received it by email or by Slack, for example, or have you stored it into Notion or Drive. Second, you need to know the exact name of your document that you're trying to retrieve. Otherwise, it's very complicated to look for it. And third, well, it's a growing problem, right? Because ever more data is collected every day. At Clio AI, we came up with a very simple solution. First, we connect you with internal data sources. So we connect to Google Drive, Notion, Slack, your CRM, your HR tool, etc. Second, we provide you with contextualized search, just like ChatGPT, and I'm sure you've all tried it. And third, we provide you with smart insights, data source, and we identified who's the right expert in the company to talk to. So how does it look? Let's say you would log into Clio, put in your request, and then you would very simply get a quick answer to what you're looking for, but also you would be able to look at the data source and who's the expert to talk to if you still have questions. Now, you're probably thinking, well, I've seen many solutions. You know, we've been trying to solve this problem for a long time. So why us and why now? Why now? Well, first of all, there's huge improvement in the technology, but also companies are looking to implement AI in their day-to-day. And for us, we're different from our competitors because we're using prompt engineering techniques, whereas we're not training the model per se on specific use cases. If you're not convinced now, well, we've estimated that the cost of productivity loss in the US is up to 900 billion per year. Our vision is not only to be the internal search tool for companies, but it's also to add automation on top of that and become the smart assistant for companies. Our business model is quite simple. We're a B2B SaaS with a price per seat per user per month. And Jacob and myself are the best team to build this tool, as myself, coming from a consulting background, has built a knowledge management solution for my previous company. And Jacob has extensive experience as a data engineer and specifically building prompt engineering for scale-ups. The ask, we're currently raising a pre-seed round of 300K to be able to win more proof of concept, improve the product, and build our first sales and revenue to be able to be ready for a seed round in 12 months. I'm very happy to connect with any of you after, so don't hesitate to come back to me.
Great, amazing. Making the start is always hard, but you did it amazing. And with the future, AI is the future, but with the future there are always coming questions. So now I ask myself, what are the questions from the jury? Do you have any questions?
Sure, thank you very much for the question, for the pitch. Concerning go-to-market, who is your first best customer?
So regarding our go-to-market, we're first looking to address scale-ups in Germany. And why scale-ups? Because they're using cloud-based solutions, so it's easier for us to connect to those few tools. And second, the pain has been validated, right? They grew mostly quickly. They weren't able to put all the processes in place. Usually they're using many SaaS tools. And also, well, with all the turnover, it's sometimes a bit difficult to really, store the knowledge. So first, scale-ups. And then second, we've already had discussions with larger corporates, but we know it's a bit more challenging in terms of data security, so this is something we have in mind. And once we'll be ready, we'll implement those standards as well to be able to focus on corporates.
That's great. Likewise, thanks for the presentation. My question is around, for the scale-ups, is the user also the budget holder, or are you almost sort of selling the product to two different people within one organization?
Yeah, so it's a great question. We also have a little bit more information on our ideal customer profile. Currently, the buying customers are mostly founder, chief of staff, and COO, so it's mostly transversal roles. Whereas everybody in the company could really use Clio, the main user persona, so like the main use case that we want to focus on first, are again project team management, C-levels, and client-facing. So kind of the same, right? Because they're more transversal teams that need access to information across the company.
My question is around defensibility, especially long-term defensibility with AI becoming more commoditized, and also which we saw like ChatGPT 4 made many AI startups redundant. Where do you see your long-term defensibility? Is it the prompt engineering from the tech side or more UI, UX game?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of both. I can very quickly show you a little bit of a technical, but it's mostly prompt engineering. So whereas all our competitors today are focusing on training the models, we think that with the emerging capabilities, the models will get better anyway. So we're taking the advantage of the time today to master the prompt engineering, and once the models will get at the point where they're being trained by all our competitors, basically, or everybody that's using it, we'll have a head start, and we'll be able to be competitive in the long run because of that. Also, we want to be competitive because of the data security. So today we're using OpenAI, but we'll definitely change that once we have the resources, once we'll have our product market fit proven, and we can use European models, for example.
Any other questions?
Maybe one last question about traction or customers you already have.
Yeah.
Probably you have a slide for that as well in the
I have
backup.
a slide for everything. Yeah, we do have tractions in terms, so we have some alpha testers, so like customers that are willing to go. We're currently onboarding our first 3 customers, so I don't want to say that we have 5 already on the platform, but we're onboarding 3 of them. We raised earlier this year a very small round, 50K from Plug and Play, and since then we're building the tool to be able to win more customers, so we're having a bunch of conversations, but focusing on the 3 onboarding at the moment.
We have still 1 minute and 14 seconds, so if there's anything itching, a question, then go for it, ask it.
Just a question on your raise. So you're not, this is a pre-seed round. How much runway does this get you, and kind of does this kind of product need essentially kind of tons of funding to get to scale? Given the, so how much? So you're raising your runway and kind of plans to get to the next stage. What you expect to achieve?
Correct. So we're raising 300 to be able to show traction and be able to go to the next round. With the 300K, we are going to go for 12 months to be able to show those KPIs. So basically, like we plan to have more POCs, more customers, and develop the product even more until then.
Who's leading sales in the team?
So currently we're a team of 3. So myself on the business and operations and sales part, my co-founder on the data engineering, and we have a full stack developer with us, and she's building the product with us. So I'm currently focusing on sales, but yeah, we plan to hire as soon as we can, obviously, and yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, I think time is running up, but thank you very
so much
for your pitch. Now we know about the startup clear. Perfect. So first startup, we get to know it now, and now 7 are left. The next one we can welcome on stage is Lacmos. Please, a big applause.
Perfect. Thank you, everybody. My name is Camilla, and I founded Lacmos. We create deepfake survey populations to replace 20% of market research by 2030. And why do we actually do that? If your product is good enough, people will always find it, right? Not really. So companies always try to monitor the landscape to attune their clients to optimize their products as an experience. But how do you actually map an ever-changing landscape? Today, it's surveys, interviews, focus groups. But those create a static snapshots of the world. And as soon as you got the report in your hands, it is already outdated. So these snapshots of the past worlds keep piling up in the archives of companies, and no one is really using it, and we want to change that. So we want to take that forgotten wealth that the company is sitting on, plug it into our system, enrich it with our data sets, and reuse the surveys and the data they have for the 2nd, 3rd, for the 10th time. So why would you use a paper map to find a cafe when you can use Google Maps that you have at your fingerprints that tells you which street to avoid because there is a traffic jam? In a similar way, we want to change the maps companies use to navigate the market. We want to make customer research continuous. So our data models answer like real clients and are available, accurate, and fast. So far, our digital populations can replace surveys and interviews. We are soon moving to focus groups and also feedback on all the Figma files. And we are not building a black box. You can imagine like a high-tech Lego instead. So you always kind of know where your data stream is heading. At Core, we combine behavioral science with AI. I won my first national award for research in behavioral science when I was 17. My co-founder, Jan, has lectured at Oxford during his undergrad about AI, and Roman can code basically anything overnight. And we are betting on AI being the most popular KPI for large corporate clients in the next year. There is the hunger for it. In the last 3-4 months of our existence, we already managed to onboard 17 our brilliant Gen Z brains, create a POC and a demo, arrange 3 pilots with European banks, and we are also heading to Slush conference as we were selected one of the top 50 startups of the year. In the next 18 months, we want to cover 5 industries in the US and the EU, and we are starting with finance and banking. Fancy joining us? Thank you.
On point, great. Any questions?
I'm sorry. I saw the Kyle example on the website as well, and the text, what was in there was pretty specific and pretty multi-layer quality feedback. How do you handle good and bad feedback and surveys? How do you manage the quality within the surveys?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. So our model is layered and modular, and at Core, there are very different types of analyses. At the beginning and at the end, we have a large language model similar to ChatGPT, but we are actually doing the analysis ourselves. And we have benchmarks for various types of analyses because we have neural networks, we have time series, so there is a different indicator. Also, we are benchmarking our answers with the traditional research, with the traditional surveys, which is pretty straightforward.
Hi. You mentioned your go-to-market is both EU and US. How do you envision targeting two different markets with a small team?
Yeah. So these 2 markets, namely Czech Republic, the homeland of the company, and the US are the markets where we saw the biggest traction within the first 3 months. So this is also where we are arranging the first pilots. And it is also where we started building our digital populations, because we always need to go by country and by industry. And this is in finance and banking where we got the most noticeable pull.
Could you tell us a little bit more about your revenue model? Do you have any recurring revenue? How big do you think the average contract values are?
Yeah. So our current subscription model starts at 10K a month for the first month, so including implementation of the data the company already has, and then it's 5K for each month subsequently.
Thank you.
Maybe again the same question from the last pitch about the traction. Where do you stand right now, and what do you want to achieve within the next 6 months?
Yeah, it is actually super nice because we got our first public demo published yesterday, and it was a collab of 7 European banks, one of which is currently doing our first pilot trial ever, which is pretty exciting. And we already have letters of intent also from other industries, namely telco, automotive, and we will be also tackling healthcare really soon.
Sorry, just one follow-up question, because you mentioned quite a lot of industries there. Who is the perfect customer, or is this super agnostic?
At this point, it's a bank or a financial institution, because this is the type of data that we first have the best baseline model for, and we are most ready to incorporate their data streams into our algorithm.
I'd be interested to know, for the banks, what KPIs do they want to unlock with this trial? Like, what does success look like from their side? And over what period of time do you think you can demonstrate that to them?
Excellent. So we noticed that they do not test messaging, ads, products as much as they would want to. So at first, the success from their side, as we understood it, would be just to test more. And when you have your perfect client or your target client on your mobile phone or at the interface on your computer, and you can just ping and ask 3 times a day, what do you think about this sales email or this product or this value proposition, it would make their innovation rapid, which is a bit tougher to measure, actually. So what they would also welcome is just to shorten the time through which they get the answer, because it is not only that the current survey is really, really expensive, but it is also because of the cost that they really need to go through the whole round of signatures and approvals to get the budget. So if they can get 30 surveys with our model instead of just 1 survey with a traditional model, well, now we are talking, right?
Great, thank you. And then maybe just a final question for me. Obviously, banks you tend to think might have long sales cycles. How have you found it so far? It's obviously really impressive. You've got them to sign up to a pilot.
Yeah, well, this is our first startup, so I think at first, we do not know how hard it really is, but we got our first pilots within a month of actually talking to the bank, so I don't know, you did the benchmarking. I actually do not know how it is supposed to look like.
All right, we don't have any time for questions left, but thank you very much for the pitch.
Thank you. Thank you, too.
And well, I hope everybody is ready for Gen Z startups, but also ready for the next pitch. And the next pitch is from the startup Bitte Leiter. Please welcome Tyler. Welcome.
Hello everyone, this is Marwa from BitTyler. We are the team that developed a software that relies on AI-powered type of compression to operate directly on sensors. The goal is to empower the businesses to literally unlock the full potential of the data extracted from these sensors and reduce the costs when it comes to transmission and storage, and most importantly, in our hearts, it's to reduce the carbon footprint when it comes to data transmission. The problem with the dawn of Industry 4.0 is that it has brought so many devices, massive devices, generating massive amount of data. This data, of course, needs to be transmitted through the network, and at some point it needs to be stored. A physical problem, we are reaching the limit when it comes to storage, transmission, and then it also becomes a bit hefty when it comes to cost as well. There is a funny thing when it comes to sensor data. There is a paradox. The thing is that it's data-rich, but information-poor. And the thing is that the more data we gather, the more insights we can actually obtain. So then comes the question, what should we do? Obsolete system, what they do is they simply filter events before transmission, or they transmit only when a catastrophe happens. That's not the case when it comes to BitTyler. So our solution is a plug-and-play software, goes on any type of hardware, let's say, or sensor. With compression, we can reach up to 90%, and we empower this kind of sustainability by reducing the energy consumption by up to 30%, and of course, we provide some resilience to the network. We are willing to sell our idea, or we are envisioning to sell our idea, or product, sorry, to chip manufacturers or IoT sensor manufacturer. We are currently conducting a few projects with ST Microelectronics, Bosch, etc. You can try our demo if you want, it's actually working. And the founders or the people behind BitTyler are actually myself and the co-founder who did years at the University of Dresden doing research revolving around this. And we are a team of 5. And when it comes to competition, like currently the solution is like reducing costs for either transmission or storage, but a holistic one, like BitTyler, it does not exist. So we are able to be actually a market leader in the near future. For the timeline, we did research in the past. We got a grant from the German government to start BitTyler. We founded this year, and we are looking for our next investment round and the market launch for next year. And for that, I would love to say that we would love to get a 1.5 million, please, to go further, to have around 10 employees, to move out of the university, and of course, we have more money to... Okay, it's ringing, but the time is still on. Thank you. That's not good.
Very interesting. You did amazing. You did amazing. So, do you have questions for her?
Thank you very much. I really, really like what you're doing. My question would be about pricing. You more think about a SaaS pricing or usage-based?
Actually, we still are not yet for the pricing, because when we talk to these pilot customers, everyone wants something specific. Some have mentioned the SaaS because we can actually have a SaaS solution and we want to have such a thing. But on the other hand, some others, they want to have it on license-based, like we go under the umbrella of this specific company. So there are like lots of possibilities, but until now we are not really sure where we want to actually go. But yeah, I mean, like what we want is that we don't want to go back and be like telecom or AWS by just billing the people with the byte. We want to give them the freedom to deliver their data, but at least they are more conscious about when it comes to environmental impact. So it needs a bit of time, sorry. Yeah.
Thanks. Can you talk a bit about this funding round, what you hope to achieve, especially with potentially a long go-to-market? Just keen to know what is sort of your North Star metric, and when do you think you'll hit that?
I missed the first word, sorry.
With your $1.5 million funding round, what are the key milestones that you're hoping to achieve?
Okay, yeah. So for now, like, I mean, I'm being super honest about it. Like, both founders are like having zero life about it. We are just doing everything. And I think on the long run, it will not be healthy. So we will need like engineers who will be there to receive, let's say, feedback from customers, because there is a huge demand for it. And currently we cannot sustain that. We get literally shutting down the offer, like, or at least the calls from companies. So we would like to make sure that our software is running perfectly. We also want to make sure that we have employees that are good when it comes to sales, because we are not good at sales, marketing, and so many other tasks that actually we've been doing ourselves in a more of like following our guts, but it has to at some point become more mature. So we hope within this 1.5 year we can scale, and we hire the right people with the right expertise so that we can focus on maybe other stuff to grow better. Yeah. I hope this answers.
A quick question about the energy reduction potential you have. What was the amount of energy you could save within a process theoretically?
I mean, it's not theoretically, it has been tested physically at our labs and at our chair at the university. We can reach between 20 to 30%. It depends on the device, but the guarantee is that this interval is actually sure. Yeah.
And do you already got feedback from the first pilot customers about the potential you reached in the lab?
I mean, we have already some feedback when it comes to data reduction, but the energy consumption, it is not yet fully, let's say, heard. It needs a bit of more development, let's say.
Yeah, sorry, you guys have asked all the questions I had. Just on the energy consumption, I guess, how important is that factor to your target customers?
Okay, I just want to clarify something quick when it comes to energy consumption. Like what we all know, for example, is that our phones, when they are sitting there, they're not doing anything, they don't lose battery. But once you start connecting to the internet, you see how the battery drains. And this is the same when it comes to sensors, because all of them, they're IoT devices. So if you open your wireless medium to transmit shorter package or not to transmit all the time, then of course you will be saving on energy. So this is like a normal physical constant, something that you could observe. So it actually is there. And I forgot what you said, sorry. Oh
just how much does your target customer kind of care about that?
Okay, yeah. And the customers, they actually care about it a lot, because governments are putting some, like, how to say, constraints, or they are forcing businesses to become more sustainable. So it's of their interest to actually have this ticked before maybe 2030, or the zero energy consumption, where they have, I think, 2050 or so. Yeah.
Some other questions? We have
Maybe
a little time
the
left.
team, I just want to understand the team, kind of what places you both to kind of lead this company?
The team?
The team, yeah. Can you give us a bit of information about the team?
Okay, yeah, sure. So I'm the CTO, and our CEO is over there, and we are like doing these roles interchangeably, like we're working together. But the good thing is that what he does, I do not do. That's a good thing when it comes to founders. And we also have a business developer and a couple of engineers. One is hardware-based, let's say working a lot, fiddling with sensors, and the other one is a data scientist that is checking on the, let's say, enhancement of the AI agent behind our compression solution.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Really, really cool. So we are moving to our 5th startup. Please welcome Rethink. Big applause.
Hi everyone, my name is Franziska. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Rethink. Many businesses have been preparing to face the climate crisis. But are we prepared for the biodiversity crisis? We face the most rapid decline since the dawn of humanity. Out of 9 critical planetary boundaries are directly connected with biodiversity loss. The loss of biodiversity is not just an environmental concern, but an economic one. Half of the global GDP relies on natural ecosystems, like healthy soil, pollination, or clean water, representing a staggering $44 trillion. Many companies have a vast influence on our environment and ecosystems. That's why they are forced to report their impact on sustainability reporting. So there's a problem, yet they don't have any information about their clear data. So this is where Rethink comes into play. By harnessing over 2.5 billion data points, our AI transforms complex biodiversity data into clear, actionable insights. We combination of physical climate risk and biodiversity data. We call it nature assessment. With Rethink, we are transforming diverse data sources with a combination of physical climate risk and natural data. So we help companies actually to save this big regulatory reporting issue. We save time. We want to be and help them to be regulatory compliant and reduce financial risks. Our goal is to guide companies towards bringing nature to the heart of decision making. So we have a fluid business model based on a subscription model. Costs are tailored based on their asset location number and their regulatory compliance. We have a really unique play in the competitive edge, which means we have an unparalleled quality of data and a USP which has based on our proprietary data. So the timeline is in the upcoming year is based on to enhance our AI algorithm and really focus on our climate risk assessment and be a really strong partner in the industry relationship. So we are asking to have a strong company in us for €1 million. Thank you.
Really, really cool. Okay, we see, nice. Let's ask the jury for questions.
I guess would love to know more about the team.
Yes, thank you. So this is a slide. Our team has a complementary skill. So my role is business model, business development. The other team members have a Big Four background and regulatory background, and this is actually our team. Yeah.
One question about the pain of the customer. Is it just regulatory, or what other pain points are you solving for the customer?
Well, basically, they have a big pain in the regulatory case because right now the sustainability reporting is quite strict with the audit proof. So they really need to deliver transparent data. And we've talked to a lot of customers, and we got the proof from our pilot customers with a quote, "This is exactly what they need, because they otherwise don't know how to solve this pain of getting the data." So this is based on a regulatory, but as well the credit system, for example, banks will have a look on biodiversity and physical climate risk as well. So even in the construction industry, this is as well a really, really big pain to report this data on.
Maybe then a follow-up question, wouldn't be a nature assessment not just be kind of a sub-part of a climate assessment of a company, or do they need to do both?
Well, actually, our solution is based on geospatial data, because they need to really report all of their locations they are based on and where their productions is on. So we can't do it like, for example, in the carbon market. So they need to report on their fabrics and their impact they have on biodiversity. Especially, to give you an example, their water stress is a really important metric, not just the typical biodiversity data on it.
Thanks. Can you tell us a bit more about who your early adopters will be? And you just mentioned some pilot customers. Maybe I missed it during your presentation, but it'd be great if you can tell us a little bit more about, who are they? How did you get them on board?
Yes, well, my background is a former CSO in the Financial and Capital magazine, so I have a strong network in this direction. Our pilot customers are basically public listed companies who needs to report on it. And a specific industry is the raw material industry, because they have a quite big impact on it. And another part of the material industry are, for example, as well the construction industry, because, as I explained before, they need to report based on the credit credentials about this topic. So the focus right now is really the first part of the construction side, and then later on we are already talking with banks because they need the data as well.
I have a question regarding the buyer persona. Who in the company makes the decision to procure the product, and who actually uses it?
Well, it's quite difficult, because still in bigger companies we have already the head of nature or sustainability departments, but in smaller companies it's actually like 20 hours employer. So basically we are focusing right now on the sustainability and head of nature department, because they are the bigger companies on, but we are as well talking with the CEO of smaller companies, because they really want to transform and do the TNFD approach, where we are as well an official partner on.
And who uses the product in the end?
At the end, the regulatory department, the risk department, and the sustainability department, because, well, we actually had the thesis that they need a really complicated dashboard, but what they need at the end is the data, so that they can put it on their sustainability reporting. So they, at the end, need the API access on it. But as well, the management board wants to have a dashboard, because they want to combine the data with their strategic vision on sustainability transformation.
Okay, are there any questions? Because we have 21 seconds left, so.
Maybe a quick one for me. 1 million
Very quick.
funding round. How did you end up on that number? And
10 seconds.
What runway does it give you?
Well, we are looking for like-minded partners to help us to build this vision. So we want to build on a really scientific approach. We want to develop our developers and IT departments. So we want to push this topic, because the competition will go high.
We have to keep the time in mind, because it's unfair either if we don't do. But thank you very much. Really, really cool startup. Amazing. Okay. So that was quick, but nice. We're going to move to the next startup. It's the sixth startup today. It's Serious. Please make a warmly welcome. Here's the microphone for you.
Hi everyone, I'm Anastasia, CEO and founder of Serious. Fossil fuel economy is powered by fossil fuels. Green economy is powered by metals. In fact, we need 6 times more metals to meet the world net zero ambition. Yet today, metal and mining industry is responsible for at least 15% of the world emissions. We simply cannot afford to multiply it by 6. So the leading companies, including Apple, Meta, and Tesla, are pressuring their metal suppliers to decarbonize. But 80% of sustainability leaders lack tools and financing to make it happen. Instead, they're drowning in data requests and have to focus on measuring and reporting their sustainability performance, failing to take any real action to improve. And I experienced this problem firsthand as a chief sustainability officer in a multi-billion-dollar metal company. And that is why we built Sirius. With Sirius, we are on a mission to empower every sustainability leader in the metal and mining supply chain to act. With our software, they know exactly what to do and how to meet their requirements. Our AI captures their unique sustainability profile and builds a sustainability twin. It allows sharing data across the supply chain in just a few clicks and builds personalized, industry-specific action plans to meet the requirements. In essence, it's a sustainability co-pilot available on subscription. And with our co-pilot, companies can start improving right away. In just a few months since inception, we won as paying users, pilot, and trial customers, leading mobility and metal players in the world. But for us, this is just the beginning. Our vision is to become a go-to platform to plan, finance, and implement sustainability improvements across the metal supply chain. And we have just the right team to make it happen. Together, we have more than 20 years of experience in the metal industry, and we have known each other for many years. I'm a former chief sustainability officer, and I also built metal traceability platform together with Tesla. Sergey is a former Boston Consulting Group and a seasoned executive in the metal companies. And Seva is our data guru, and he actually built one of the top supercomputers before. And together, we are enabling metal supply chain to act. So if you're ready to take action, let's get serious.
Pretty much on point, really good. Nice, okay. Let's kick it off with questions.
Great, maybe I'll go first. Thank you, that was brilliant. Could you tell us a bit more about your traction? So it said you've got paid users, pilots. Can you maybe talk us through the funnel? Like how many people started using it and are still using it today?
Yeah, so we actually started from pilots with the mobility supply chain, so with the mobility companies like Unicorn, Bolt, and transportation conglomerate PON in the Netherlands, where we worked on their metal supply chain. And we figured out the product, learned, and they co-developed a solution with us. And through the summer, we started going directly to the metal companies, and right now we're working with Arcelor and Glencore on trials and first contracts.
I have a question regarding the product. Could you give us a short overview of how procurement is done now and which steps changes with your product?
Yeah, so the first step is creating a sustainability twin. Essentially, we capture all of the unstructured data from a company through their policies, reports, environmental product declarations, everything what's relevant. They just drop it, and our algorithm maps it to our model, which we built specifically for mining metal industry, so understanding different grades of the materials, product level, site level, corporate level. Mapping this is the first part of the solution, and then sustainability twin is created. Then from there, we allow sharing information across the supply chain, so responding to questionnaires, customer requests, bank requests, rating agencies, etc. Then we learn from those requests where the gaps are and what actually your customers want from you, which certifications they're asking, whether biodiversity becoming is something of importance, or some new implemented regulations in the Netherlands becoming important. And we demonstrate this market intelligence and then also go through there. And we also have chat functionality where customers can actually interact with your sustainability data. That gives a lot of, so one of our users essentially is a sales team. So sustainability and sales team, so yeah.
How do you ensure high quality in the very first beginning of the value chain in the mines to get the best quality from there?
So essentially, how do we ensure that we don't get garbage in, garbage out situation?
Last one, how do you ensure that the quality of the data coming from the mines to trace what you then sell is already right?
Yeah, so we don't trace, right? That's the important differentiator. We actually collaborate with the traceability solutions, so we help them onboard their clients. So for us, we rely on the data. We're not auditors. We rely on the data that mining metal companies already have and that they already share with their counterparties across the supply chain. And in many cases, this is quite regulated industry where you have all of the documents already. So speaking also from the experience, so you have all of the environmental product declarations, LCAs, etc. in place. It's just a matter of really communicating that across the supply chain in an effective way and learning from your customers, customers of your customers, customers of your customers of your customers, what they actually want from you. So we give this power of how one of our clients put it, cleaning this chaotic data situation. So, yeah.
Do we have time?
Yes, we do have time. Plenty.
Can you just walk me through kind of your business model, please?
So we are SaaS right now, subscription, seats-based and usage-based, limits per seat, certain limit per usage. And additionally, going forward, we're also implementing collaboration. We're already working with some banks to implement the financing solution, and there we charge for like percentage. But going forward, not yet.
We have time left, 50 seconds.
I'll ask a quick one. How do you need to comply with GDPR if you're sharing data across the supply chain?
GDPR is personal information, so we don't share personal information.
So there's no sort of data security risks.
Yeah, we have to comply with GDPR. Every company has to, but we don't have like in sharing this information, no, because this is more of a public stuff.
All right, very good on time. Impressive pitch. Big applause, please. And next startup that we can invite on stage, let's keep it going with Alteva. Big applause.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Ida, and at Alteva we believe that we as humanity can live on this planet sustainably. And to make that happen, we are tackling the decarbonization of transportation, because 25% of global greenhouse gas emissions come from transportation. And we know how we can change that. That is by electrification. We already see a lot of electric cars around, so it's going quite well. But we also need to look at other means of transportation. For example, planes, trucks, also heavy machinery. And in these applications, current batteries are still way too heavy to really make electrification possible. That's why we work on a new battery technology, lithium-sulfur batteries. They have the huge advantage that they're up to 3 times lighter than current lithium-ion batteries. And as they use sulfur, they also have much lower material costs, are environmentally benign, and the materials are globally available. So that really sounds great, but the problem so far has been that they only survive about 50 charge cycles. So the lifetime is really limited. But that is what we can change now. At the German Aerospace Center, we have developed a new material. We call it carbon cage. And with our material, we can really stop the degradation that limited the cycle life so far. So we have now shown more than 500 charge cycles compared to the 50 that were possible so far. Yeah, by the way, this technology is also patented. So we as Alteva, we're going to take these lightweight and cheap batteries, develop them further, produce them ourselves, and then really sell them to all the OEMs in the transportation sector. We are 2 founders, Eiko and me. Eiko has a lot of commercial experience from his previous startups, so he's covering the business side, and I've been working with the technology for several years now, so I'm covering the technical side. We get a lot of support from the German Aerospace Center and several advisors. So for our go-to-market, in the beginning, we are mostly looking at more smaller scale modular markets to really get our foot into the market. So there, especially drones and also power tools are really interesting. And then step by step go into larger markets, for example, aviation, trucking, and then ultimately also EVs. We have talked to a lot of customers in all these areas and see really huge interest in lightweight batteries. And yeah, always the question, when can we test your prototypes? So we are working on that. So yeah, we are not the only company working on a new battery technology right now, but we have one huge advantage, and that is scalability. Our material, as well as the batteries from our material, can be produced on existing scalable machinery. That means also in the beginning we can work together with partners and get to market that way much faster than our competitors. So for our roadmap, this year we're setting up our own lab, and by 2025 we will have a commercial prototype and a small-scale lab production, and then by 2027 we will really be in commercial-scale battery production. Yeah, to make that happen, we are right now raising a 2 million pre-seed round, so if this opportunity sounds interesting, please reach out. I'm looking forward to many interesting discussions. Thank you.
Amazing. Wow, I am impressed, and I'm pretty sure the jury got a lot of questions for you.
Yeah, 100%. You mentioned that you want to produce the batteries by yourself. I think that's not the super typical venture capital case to build up the whole production. What's the reasoning behind that?
So our thinking is really like, how can we have the biggest impact? And that means getting as many batteries out into the market as soon as possible. And we see like current battery companies have a bit of hesitation changing to new battery technology because there's a lot of investment going into these battery factories. So they want to get revenue rather than refitting the factories to new technology. And that's why we see that it makes sense to really build our own factories. But as I mentioned, we can work on existing machinery. So in the beginning, we will basically have subcontracting with existing manufacturers so that we can get our batteries faster and don't have to really build this factory right in the beginning, but can do that in later upscaling stages.
And maybe one quick question about the traction you mentioned with drones. Do you test the batteries with drones or with, I think, with steel as well already, or is it planned for the future?
So we are not in application right now, so that's planned for the future. As I mentioned, in 2025 we will really want to have these commercial scale battery prototypes, and that's also when the real testing will start. So maybe in 2024 we will have the first prototypes that we can give out to customers, and then in 2025 this will really speed up. Yeah.
What risks or challenges do you anticipate kind of in the coming years, given it's quite an R&D and kind of heavy business?
So obviously, we have also some technical risk in our technology, but we have seen that the upscaling actually works really well from the small lab scale cells to the larger cells. So we don't really see any big hurdle that we still need to cross in this regard. So if we can really make it happen, that our batteries reach the parameters that we want to reach, and then also scale this, I think the market is not really the biggest risk. So we just need to really make it happen that the scaling and so on works well.
Thanks. I have a question around the fundraise. So especially if you're going to be producing your batteries yourself, how far does the 2 million get you? So I can sort of see use of funds, but it'd be interesting to know, what milestones you'll unlock with this funding round to position you really strongly for the next raise.
Yeah. So with this funding round, we want to get to the commercial prototype. So we'll cover the next 18 to 24 months for the R&D and really having this commercial prototype. And at the same time, we're right now applying to a lot of government grants also, and are looking at the EIC accelerator, for example, that we want to basically get some additional funding then to also install the first production in our own facilities.
Maybe a follow-up question to that. How big do you think the next funding round have to be to build up your own production?
So the next following into 25 probably then, or?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So we expect to get to full revenue and profitability. We will need about 20 to 30 million. And that will be probably, with the next round, that is somewhere around 5 to 10 million, and then in the third round, that will get us to profitability. That's the plan.
What is the main KPI you have to hit that you say you can raise 25 million?
So basically what we need to show now is that our prototypes really reach the parameters that we are seeing with the lab cells, that we get customers that really see also that these batteries work in their applications. And I think then we have to, the problem of the production is not really a technical problem, it's more an engineering problem, so it just needs development. And I think when we can show that the technology really works in application, then we can be quite sure to have a huge market.
You mentioned the patent you have. Is it your patent or is it still connected to university, the aerospace center?
Yeah, so the patents belong to the Aerospace Center, to the German Aerospace Center, but we have an exclusive license. So we will basically have exclusive rights to this technology.
Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much. Really, really cool. Big applause, please. Great, you did well. Let's welcome our 7th startup of today, Artificial Mobility Intelligence. Big applause, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Sherry from Artificial Mobility Intelligence, where we work towards a safer and greener future mobility. Today, more than 60% of drivers in Western Europe think they're overpaying for their car insurance. That's why already around 30 million users are already using this usage-based insurance, which means they want to be rewarded for safe driving behavior. However, traditional solutions, which are usually a black box, GPS-based hardware, plug into your car, this kind of technology has not evolved in the past 10 to 15 years. And they still cost hundreds of euros per device, and data accuracy is lower than 70%. Due to lack of technological advancement, there's no way of actively preventing accidents. That's why at Artificial, we have developed GISO, which is our own AI algorithm that's developed only for the smartphone. So that means when drivers are driving, we directly take the camera on your smartphone, and the camera sees the road when you're driving. When we predict an accident, we'll send the driver a warning signal 2 seconds before you're about to hit something. At the same time, we collect more than 20 categories of rich data. For example, your lane keeping performance, distance keeping performance, are you breaking any traffic rules, or are you slowing down at stop signs? With these, we will be able to generate a digital twin profile for the insurance companies to calculate a score based on your driving behavior. We create great values for insurance companies, car sharing companies, and fleet companies. Because we're a hardware-free technology, we save hundreds of euros just per user because there's no hardware cost involved. And with the lower accident rates, everybody can maximize their profits. From the driver's perspective, we make driving safer because our camera technology is a cost-effective alternative to LiDAR or radar. We also make driving greener because we have actually gone the extra mile to calculate everybody's carbon emissions based on your mobility mode. So that means we don't just calculate how much carbon emissions you are emitting when you're driving. We actually tell you how much carbon emissions you're offsetting when you're walking, commuting, or biking. Of course, if you're a safe and good driver, you can get up to 40% off your insurance premium. We are a B2B data subscription business model, and we directly make our revenues from insurance companies based on a commission percentage. And we grow very rapidly with the market at more than 30%. Target market-wise, we are targeting an 8 billion euro market only in North America and Europe alone. And based on our conversations with insurers, with drivers, we know we're solving a market pain point. Team-wise, we are a university spin-off from Germany. I am a business co-founder, and my other 2 co-founders are both data scientists who used to do their research in autonomous driving. We officially started from last year, have been supported by the German government, and now we have kicked off our first commercial project. Sorry, just 1 second.
Okay, we can't do 1 second because it's unfair against the other ones, but thank you very much. Maybe you can answer it in the questions. Big applause. Yeah. Great. All the things that you couldn't mention now, the questions are here for. So maybe Deirdre will ask a question where you can follow up with the information.
Sure. Thank you very much. As you mentioned, the customer, the insurances, as I understood it right, the user would be you or me to plug in the phone while I'm driving. That's the direct user, but our direct customers are the insurance company. So that means for the drivers themselves, it's free to use. So you get the benefits from your insurance company, and we make our revenues from insurance companies. And how to make sure that every driver is actually using for every ride he's doing the application, plugging in the phone, even for a small ride.
Definitely, we have taken that into consideration, and we actually give the user the flexibility of engaging or not engaging the camera. So that means when you do have the time and you want a better accuracy for your, evaluating your driving behavior, you'll be able to activate the camera. But if you don't, we actually automatically track your driving behavior based on the GPS tracking.
You mentioned you'd give the driver a 2-second warning before a crash. How accurate is that?
So based on our previous industrial project testing, we have a false alert percentage of lower than 10%. So for frontal collision, for example, we cannot watch what's coming from behind you. Yeah.
I'm curious about how you validated that your solution makes driving safer and greener.
Sorry?
How you validated that your solution makes driving safer and greener?
Yeah, it's still based on, so for example, the safety part, because we are a university spinoff and my co-founders have worked with OEMs already in the past 3 years in the research. The safety part we have validated with even OEMs, and the greener and more ecological driving behavior we have also validated with an industrial partner or testing project with a food delivery company in Düsseldorf in Germany. And we have seen that drivers have, I would say, more than 70% improvement in over just 4 weeks in their better driving behavior, less harsh brakes, that all kinds of stuff.
Where did the OEMs have the data from?
Sorry?
Where the OEMs have the data from? Like you said, you validated with the OEMs?
Just the camera. So we are a camera-only solution. Yeah.
Maybe one quick question about the future, because if the car's getting way more digitalized, doesn't that kind of exclude your solution if the cars get super autonomous in any way?
Yeah, so I think it's a twofold kind of issue. So first of all, it's about how OEMs have all your driving data, but they're not sharing that data with your insurance company. So insurance companies are always looking for better data, but the car makers are not sharing. So we are the one who's basically filling that data gap. And the second issue is about autonomous vehicle. I think this is what how the industry has been underperforming, I would say, because I remember 5 years ago, everybody was talking about robotaxi and everything becoming autonomous. But today, if you actually look at what's happening, it's not really happening, right? So I don't think this issue would be a challenge for us.
What's the kind of defensibility of the tech or your product?
Can you be more specific, please?
How defensible is your product?
Defensive?
Defensible. So what makes this product unique, or your tech? Is it proprietary? Is it easy to enter the market? Is it easy to replicate this, given it's smartphones, cameras, and so on?
Yeah, for sure. For example, if you compare us to most competitors, most of them need to run this kind of AI on a hardware dash cam, which also needs to have a very sophisticated chip, AI chip. That means these hardware devices cost at least 500 euros. But we know the processing power of smartphones are much better than any kind of dash cam or hardware out there. So that's why we are actually one of the first in Europe to actually run this AI on a smartphone. That's literally the unique selling point.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Big applause, please. All right, last but not least, let's welcome Macromo. There you go. Have fun.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eva and I'm a co-founder and co-CEO of Macromo. And at Macromo, we fight with chronic diseases. About half of you will encounter one of these diseases in your lifetime. And we are talking about civilizational diseases such as stroke and type 2 diabetes. And the thing is, people are aware of this, we are trying to prevent them, and people are nowadays taking ownership of their health. So, we are tracking our fitness with Apple Health, we are going to doctor, to regular checkups, and we are also sometimes taking tests from different companies. But the problem is diseases are complex and they are caused by genetics, lifestyle, and environment we live in. And so when we don't connect this data together, we never get a full picture about our health and we cannot prevent the diseases. And that's why Macromo is building an ecosystem of all of the tools and apps you need to help you live a healthy life. We are integrating data from fitness trackers, from at-home DNA and blood tests, as well as medical history. And our mobile application tells you how are you doing with your health, what are the main risks, and how to avoid them. And our business model is based on sales of recurring, personalized at-home tests, as well as subscription, which enables our users to safely store the data and import data from other providers. We launched our application in Czech Republic 1 year ago, and we made over 200,000 euro in revenue, and we raised nearly 1 million euro in pre-seed round. Next, we are going to expand to Austria, and I'm very happy to say that starting next week, you can buy our tests. And we are going to raise a seed round at the beginning of next year. We are 3 co-founders with different kinds of experiences. I have a background in Silicon Valley, and Petr and Michal are both coming from pharma. We are not alone. Macromo is about 20 people right now. We are marrying top scientists from universities such as MIT with talent from Silicon Valley. And lastly, I would say we've been on the market only just a year, and our MVP is not very, I would say, nice. But already we uncovered many diseases, and we heard so many customers, which always, makes my heart shine. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Time for questions.
Yeah, so I'm from the UK, so the NHS is notorious for not giving access to anyone's medical data. How accessible is other people? Like, is that a kind of potential hurdle that you'll have when you're scaling the business in other geographies? I'm not quite sure what the Austrian or the, yeah.
Yeah, so basically this service is right now paid by customers. So they are purchasing the tests and filling up the data themselves. When it comes to laboratory data, so importing, let's say, you can usually get them in a paper form, so you can scan them and get the data about the blood test that way. Or all of the laboratories in Europe use standardized data format, so we can import them in case the patients have it, but that's not always the case.
So it's not historical medical data, it's like ones that they do with your tests?
Yeah, it's essentially biomarkers. So it's historical biomarkers, but the ones that they do with our tests as well.
I saw on your website you already addressed this data security point very early. How do you give the patients the feeling that the data is really secure?
Yeah, so we are very transparent about it in our terms of use, and we think that the data should be owned by our customers. So that's why our terms of use and the whole legal structure is like the company is not owning the data. And we are fully GDPR compliant, and not only that, we went one step further, and we are actually dividing, like in terms of services, in terms of servers, dividing patient data, so that's the data about your health, and user data. That means like transactional data, data about user accounts, and so it's separated so the identity is anonymized.
And a quick follow-up question, what is kind of the pricing from what to analyze? If I want to do it right now, what do I need to pay?
For blood test, it's around, I believe they start at 100 euro and go up to, I think, 150 euro. And for DNA tests, we are talking about 300-400 euro.
Thanks. My question is around the user journey, especially if you're maybe delivering some tough results. How do you support your customers?
We are focusing only on diseases that can be prevented, that you can work on. So naturally, usually we deliver good news. In case we don't, we are trying to communicate it in as much empathetic way as possible, but we see a need of like human touch in case things go really wrong. So right now we are working on a telemedicine solution which will integrate with our app, and we already contracted with some doctors who will be consulting our users in case they need it. Because what we learned in 1 year is that we can automate a lot, like we can do a really nice deep tech, but people want a human touch, especially when it comes to their health, and they really appreciate talking to a specialist.
You mentioned that you already made 200K of revenue, which I think is already pretty impressive. But can you give us a little bit more insights into the LTV calculations, like how much does it cost you to acquire a customer and what's the lifetime value?
So it would be very hard to say the lifetime value because we are only 1 year old, but our acquisition costs right now are about 1/3. And I would say that about 1/3 are laboratory costs as well as the cost of the kit. So we are left with 1/3. I would say that these tests are generally quite high margin product. So, our revenue is offsetting our costs for the big team quite substantially.
Is there also a recurring top part of the product where customers stay longer?
Yes, exactly. So the blood test you should take about every year in case you are healthy, in case you are not every 3 months. And we are planning to add a premium subscription that will enable us store health data and enable our users to store health data and import data from other providers. Otherwise, the imports will be paid.
Maybe just a
Very
question
quickly.
on the
20 seconds.
The hardware. Is it standard off the shelf, or have you created it yourself?
So we have multiple different suppliers, and then we are basically putting the kits together ourselves.
Amazing. Big applause. This was our last startup of the pre-seed competition. So nice. I'm feeling